Hey guys, Miss Long here, and I wanted to share this awesome fable with you guys. It's called The Lion and the Mouse, and it's one of my favorite fables. A fable is a short story that has talking animals, and there is a moral or a lesson at the end of the story. So as I read it to you, I want you to kind of be thinking about what could we learn from this? What's the moral? What's the lesson? The illustrations in this version are so beautiful. It's written by Ian Andrew, and I'll try to make sure I give you close-ups of the pictures because they're gorgeous. They're done with like charcoal pencils, I think. They're just so beautiful. So The Lion and the Mouse. The Lion and the Mouse. All through the long afternoon, the forest slept. Beneath the burning sun, nothing moved nor made a sound. Nothing but the cry of the dark and hungry birds that circled endlessly overhead. Nothing but the butterflies that sometimes danced in the trees' cool shade. Suddenly, a new sound broke the silence. It was a lion. Can you imagine how mighty that lion's roar probably is? He lifted his golden head and roared. He roared his majesty to the trees and the birds and the fluttering butterflies. Look at me, his roar seemed to say. I am king. Let no creature come before me. So you know how we talk sometimes about characters thinking that they're all that in a bag of chips? This is kind of one of those moments, isn't it, where the lion thinks he's the king, better than everyone else. And then, satisfied that he had made his presence felt, the lion continued on his way. Above, amongst the branches, his startled subjects watched him go. Below, another creature hid, trapped within the leafy carpet of the lion's path. Can you see this monkey up here in the trees looking down? It's over in these beautiful illustrations. There's the lion going on his way. It was a mouse. He stayed still as stone, his tiny heart beating with the memory of the lion's roar. He crouched, silent as a rock, until the shadow of the lion's paw had passed. And then the mouse, too, continued on his way. Hours passed. In the quiet of the forest, Lion yawned and lay down to sleep. He dreamed of soothing rain and silver rivers and of the endless water that was the sea. But he awoke to the pitter-patter, not of raindrops, but of something else, to a rustling just beneath his nose and the slightest touch on the fur of his great velvet paw. What do you guys think? Who do you think it is? Touching his paw. Lion opened his shining, sleepy yellow eyes and looked. There before him crouched a mouse. Forgive me, Lord Lion, squeaked the tiny creature. I did not see you sleeping there. To me, your paw was a hill of golden sand. Let me go, and I will disturb you no more. And Mouse waited for Lion to speak, certain that only death could now await him. Can you imagine how frightened that little mouse was? And why should I forgive you? Snarled Lion, licking his lips. What reason could I possibly have? Mouse thought a while and then replied, Because one day I may be able to spare your life in return. Lion smiled a slow, sleepy smile. for he thought Mouse's story most unlikely. But there was kindness deep in the lion's heart, so he growled, "Be off with you," and watched as Mouse scampered away. And the mouse looked back at the lion who had spared him and wondered. Lion slept on until evening came to the forest. Deep in his dreams, he did not hear the sound of footsteps in the shadows until it was too late. This is one of those parts where you have to look really close at the pictures to tell what's happening in the story. Can you see the shadows in the photos here in the illustrations? And then look at the shadows over Lion's face. What does that look like it might be? Too late. He woke again just as the golden net fell, and Lion found himself bound fast, trapped into a still waiting, while his captors left to fetch their knives. Look at those illustrations. Look in the lion's eye right here. Isn't that awesome how you can see the hunters? No one could help Lion now, or so we thought. But nearby, someone was watching. Someone who remembered his kindness. And if you had been listening then to the sounds of the forest, you may have heard another noise among the buzzing and the bird calls and the rustling of 1,000 leaves. For Mouse was busy gnawing with his sharp, white pointed teeth, gnawing until the strands of golden rope fell away, and Lion was free. "You were right to spare me after all," said Mouse, as Lion stepped forth once again into the darkness of the forest. And the great Lord Lion looked at the mouse, as if for the first time, two great golden eyes peering into two quick brown ones. Then he bowed his head in the knowledge of a lesson learned, and both went on their way. And that is the end of the story. What lesson do you think you could learn from The Lion and the Mouse? I think there's a couple of really good ones, but I know we talk a lot in our classroom about when you put kindness out into the world, that kindness will come back to you. So if you think about it, in the beginning, remember when the mouse first got trapped under the lion's mighty paw, and the mouse asked him to spare his life and to let him go. And the lion did. He let him go. And later in the story, when the lion found himself in trouble, the mouse helped him in return. So I think something really important that we can all remember is to show kindness to others, and then that kindness can come back to you. Okay? Hope you enjoyed The Lion and the Mouse. I hope you guys are all doing well, and I'll post another video sometime soon of another great story. Okay, bye.